What's going on, guys? Derek here with Fantasy Football Advice, coming at you with another fantasy football video. We're into another mock draft. I am using ESPN. I actually had 2 live drafts so far this week, and they went pretty well. Both were on ESPN. I have another one coming up on September 1st. That would be the next one from here. So right around the corner. So if you guys watched the video that I put out today, it was all about values in ESPN. And I think we should have an opportunity to get some of the players that we had in that video. Davante Adams, that is an insane value. The most consistent wide receiver last season. And, I was interested in getting Nick Chubb with my next pick. Unfortunately, he's gone. That is a price I'm willing to pay in order to get Davante Adams. Potentially taking another wide receiver if a good one fell to me, like Tyreek Hill. So if Tyreek Hill does fall, in which he does, I am going to take him. But really quickly, let's go through some of our options here. So it would be Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams, or Davante Adams in either combination of Dalvin Cook, James Conner, or Joe Mixon. So I am going to take Tyreek Hill. I just think the upside at the wide receiver position is just too immense starting your draft with Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill combined. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have Dalvin Cook as my starting running back. But getting Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams is going to be such a huge advantage week in and week out. The type of upside of Tyreek Hill. Pair that with the safety of Davante Adams. Let's go ahead and take a look at Tyreek Hill's stats from last season. Here, 42 points, 39 points, 32 points, 43 points. That is some massive upside, and nothing realistically should change about that. He's going to have the opportunity to post those types of games heading into this season. So we just went over how safe Davante Adams is, combine that with the upside of Tyreek Hill, and I think that's a great combination at the receiver position. But it is about time that I do focus on my running back situation, and I do love the value of David Montgomery here. I'm afraid if I wait until the 4th round, I will not be able to get him. But there are too many running backs that I have ranked ahead. I can't be focused too much on David Montgomery. Now, Damian Williams, I would love to have on my team. Combine him with David Montgomery, and that is going to be a great 3rd and 4th round selection. I do have to go ahead and select Damian Williams here. And I'm just hoping right now that David Montgomery falls. And if he doesn't, I do have to be prepared to have a backup plan. And at this point, I do still want to look at running back, but I'm not completely ruling out another wide receiver. Unfortunately, David Montgomery did fall to me in the 4th round. And if I did start my actual money league draft like this, I would be completely head over heels and thrilled with this. So what I'm doing right now as I prepare for my next pick is I am just having the rankings pulled up right next to me on my phone, and I'm just comparing the value at wide receiver to the value at running back. It looks like all of the tier 3 wide receivers did just finish getting drafted, and also the running backs, we're now into tier 4 as well. I definitely think the value at the wide receiver position outweighs the value at running back at the current moment. Right now we are basically at the tail end of the top 24 for running back, but I still, based on the rankings, see a few guys that are ranked inside of the top 20 I can grab. So those would be Josh Gordon, also Alshon Jeffrey, who unfortunately did just get drafted, him and DJ Moore. So let's see here. I should be interested. I should grab Josh Gordon here. The upside of Josh Gordon is completely immense, and pairing him with the current wide receivers I have, I would never have to take them out of the lineup. So to have a player like Josh Gordon, who I could potentially flex down the road and sit on, as he gets accommodated with the offense, gets back into the groove with the Patriots to where he's an integral part of their offense. So not having to start him right away is going to benefit me, and there's a chance I can still get Duke Johnson on the way back. And looking here, I do have Duke Johnson available. So that definitely worked out in my favor. The only thing I'm considering right now is maybe taking O.J. Howard here instead. O.J. Howard we definitely have ranked as one of the top tight end targets, but I know that there's a chance I could get Hunter Henry later on in the draft. So I think I am going to go with Duke Johnson here. The first time I've actually drafted him in any mocks or any actual drafts since he changed teams to the Houston Texans. He was always a late round target for us. We posted videos on how he could be one of the top late round gems. And it was all because he could be traded at any moment. So my pick is coming up. And looking here, I have 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. At this point, I really have no preference on what I would draft. Now, tight end, unfortunately, Hunter Henry did get drafted. So at this point, I don't care which tight end I realistically get because I am completely fine with streaming the position. I'm going to take a peek at quarterback, and I love Carson Wentz here, but it's still too early for me. The 7th round, I can't do it for a quarterback. You can get Cam Newton a little bit later, or even players like Lamar Jackson or Kirk Cousins much later. So I am taking a look at the running back position, and I don't see anybody that sticks out as an amazing value, but I am seeing Christian Kirk here, and I think that is the winner of the draft pick because at running back, we have Royce Freeman, Rashad Penny, Peyton Barber, Nyheim Hines, McCoy, Darwin Thompson. These are all guys that could have similar type production. I'm not grabbing Darwin Thompson because I do have Damian Williams, and I'm not really interested in getting my own handcuff. If I did want to put all my eggs in one basket, I would go one or the other. I wouldn't really want to bet against myself. So I'd rather take a shot on a different running back and hope that both of them do work out. I do, out of all of these running backs, prefer to have Rashad Penny. Going back here, it is my selection again, and I'm seeing Curtis Samuel sticking out. I'm also looking at Dante Pettis. So I am going to just go ahead, load up on wide receiver, take Curtis Samuel here. You know, the 8th round for Curtis Samuel is definitely pricey. Typically, we've been getting him this offseason very late. We're talking 10th, 11th, 12th round. Now I'm paying an 8th round pick on him. I don't even mind because he's going to ride the bench. He's a very high upside pick. Cam Newton, word is, he's going to be fine. He's going to be ready to start the season. And that's all you really need to know when it comes to Curtis Samuel and his value for this upcoming season. He also has proven to have chemistry with the backup as well. So there really is not that much risk when drafting Curtis Samuel, and you're getting him at half the price of DJ Moore. So I'm very interested in that. Typically, I'd been drafting DJ Moore, but as we've been going through these ESPN drafts, there's players like David Montgomery, for instance, going in the same exact range as him, and I can never take DJ Moore over a player like David Montgomery who has potential top 12 upside. I think it's a realistic expectation for him to push for RB1 type production right out of the gate. So it is about time for my next pick, and there are still so many wide receivers that I would be completely fine with grabbing. So much so that I am going to try and focus on the running back position or potentially quarterback. Now, the quarterback position, I'm not seeing anybody that's a good value. I'm not interested in drafting Ben Roethlisberger, not interested in drafting Russell Wilson. Kyler Murray I do like as an upside pick, but I feel like I can get him later. So I don't feel forced to grab him right now. So I am going to get a running back, and realistically, I want Damian Harris, and the only other running back in this range I'm interested in would be Darrell Henderson. Considering Henderson is ranked 80 spots above Damian Harris, it only makes sense for me to grab Henderson here and wait for my next pick, pick 112, which is only 7 picks later, and I could then at that point get Damian Harris. So let's run through my team real quick. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers. So at the end of this draft pick coming up, I will end up having 5 running backs and 5 receivers. At this point, I don't think I really need any more receivers. I could take one late round guy, but I would prefer to stack up on running backs, as those are the shots that pay off more frequently. I am going to take as many shots on running back as I can, and although Damian Harris is ranked 185, I am going to take him here at, pick 112. So to even be able to get him this late in the draft is just a no-brainer. And you guys should definitely be looking out for him as well. I would also be interested in drafting Tony Pollard in this area. He's going under the radar, but unfortunately, whoever drafted him in, I believe, the 5th or 6th round is a very wise man. A little too wise, though. I think it was a bit too early. But, if he had Ezekiel Elliott, that would be a smart move. He did not have Ezekiel Elliott. So either way, it's definitely a player that you guys have to be targeting. Dante Pettis just got drafted, and he is sandwiched in between Tyrell Williams and Dante Moncrief. Now that to me seems like a really solid selection, considering that Dante Pettis has the potential to lead this team in targets. That could in fact be a role for George Kittle, but if he's not a favorite, he's just a slight underdog. And to get him, as the last pick in the 10th round, that's definitely a decent value there, to say the least. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson did get taken 2 picks before mine. So at this point, I'm going to continue to stockpile on running backs and wide receivers. So I do think Jaylen Samuels is probably the best selection I could make here. Reason being is there is a competition for lead back duties for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaylen Samuels, he has looked incredible. Anytime he touches the ball, he basically goes for chunk plays. He's a solid receiver, and they wanted to develop him this offseason for his actual rushing ability. And from what we've heard, it's been going swimmingly. So James Conner, while he is the favorite to lead this team in this backfield, you definitely cannot sleep on a player as electric as Jaylen Samuels. And again, at this point, we're taking shots on players that have the potential to be a running back 1, or at least have the opportunity to have the touches of a running back 1. If they do end up performing as an RB2, high end, low end, we're still going to be happy to have the lead back in an offense. Jalen, my pick is up, and at this point, I do have to take a quarterback, and I am going to go with Mr. Kirk Cousins. Reason being, Lamar Jackson was drafted 2 rounds ago, and do I feel like I missed out? Not particularly. I am not very opposed to just streaming the position as a whole. Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Allen. Look at Josh Allen's numbers from last season if we go to his game logs. Let's see here. So let's see his numbers. He had 40.5 points, 19.8, 18.3, 28.7, 26.3. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 of 6 games, the lowest fantasy points that he put up was 18.3. That's very consistent. And when you're talking upside, the ability to go, over 25 points in 3 of the games, including a 40.5 point game, that's not a guy that you should sleep on when it comes to streaming the position. In most leagues, single quarterback leagues, he's not even being drafted. So yeah, not opposed to using him as a streamer. Phillip Rivers is still available. Derek Carr, now with Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams. The weapons is definitely there in a good matchup. A guy you could put in there. So realistically, as I would like to have Lamar Jackson, just due to the safety of his rushing ability, I'm not going to lose sleep over it whatsoever. So looking at my roster here, I still have one spot left. One bench spot, one tight end spot, and a kicker and a defense. So I'm going to peek at the tight ends here. I would be interested in grabbing Mark Andrews here. I'm not going to be interested too much in Jack Doyle. With the Andrew Luck news, I wouldn't really be drafting him too much anyway. But Mark Andrews does stand out as a player who I would be interested in. So I'm going to go with him. And then for my last bench spot, I think I can just go ahead and leave it to Trey Quinn. And because of that, I do not have to draft him right away. He's going so late that I can actually draft him after my kicker and my defense and still be able to grab him. Let's see. Trey Quinn right now is ranked 231. That's a solid 70 picks after this selection. So I'm not worried about anyone taking him. So let's go ahead and look at the defense that is more important than the kicker. So Eagles schedule. Eagles schedule, they open up against the Washington Redskins. So that is definitely a solid matchup week 1. So with my last pick, I'm going to go kicker here. If you guys want some kicker analysis, the best kicker I believe this season is going to be Robbie Gould. At least while Jimmy Garoppolo was the starter, he had a ton of field goals. I believe he was 20%, posting 20% more fantasy points than the second place kicker. That was the year I believe that Greg Zuerlein was injured, but he definitely would give him a run for his money. But I am very confident in Robbie Gould. Giorgio Tavecchio is another selection. I believe he has 75+% of his matchups in a dome. So when you're talking about a kicker, especially a young kicker, taking out variables like weather, wind is going to help him immensely. And what we saw last year, he was not that bad. They wouldn't have been they wouldn't have been so confident in getting rid of Matt Bryant, who is a solid kicker, if they did not trust Giorgio Tavecchio. So that's my kicker analysis. I'm going to go ahead and get Giorgio Tavecchio, and then I am going to get Trey Quinn to round it out. So that's the team, guys. Real quick, I'll run through it. We have Kirk Cousins, Damian Williams, David Montgomery, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Mark Andrews, Josh Gordon, Duke Johnson, Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, Henderson, Harris, Samuels, and Hardman. Oh, Hardman. I didn't mean to get Hardman. I meant to get Trey Quinn, but Hardman is a solid wide receiver as well. The only difference is, I already have, both Damian Williams and also Tyreek Hill, so I'm not trying to quadruple dip into the Kansas City Chiefs. But that's going to do it, guys. I really did hope you enjoyed. If you did, how about you hit that like button? If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.